Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Barefoot Minis. I thought it'd be interesting to look over how many dozen eggs we got in the past 5 years of owning chickens. Now, when I was a kid, my parents raised chickens, and they had it down to a science. They also found that their best layers were red stars. They purchased red stars and black stars and raised them from chicks. They purchased them from Murray McMurray. That way, they were getting hens and not roosters. Sometimes they would get roosters as like the surprise chicken, the extra. You'd get a rooster or whatever. But my job was to sometimes take care of the chickens. Now, my dad was the main chicken tender, and then when I got married, we lived at my parents for a while. My husband was the chicken tender. But as a kid, I did chicken chores. My first chicken was a pet. It was a Buff Orpington hen. She was a sweetheart. And so chickens have been a part of my life my entire life, and I have to say I've underestimated them. I have not appreciated them as much as I should have. I always thought they smelled. I did not like doing the chores. I didn't mind collecting eggs, that's fun, but they're some stinky animals. But they're amazing animals, and this is why. So in the past 5 years, I did the math. Our chickens have laid in 5 years, and this is between, I would say, 13 and 20 hens, but our average would be around 15 laying hens. I'm not counting the chicks. They don't lay until they're about 6 months old. So I'm counting mainly, 13 to 15 laying hens on average. So in 5 years, that is 1,367 dozen eggs approximately. Now I say approximately because I only number the cartons that don't stay with us. I don't number the cartons we use. So I did some math to try to figure out how many we usually go through, and I was thinking that we go through maybe a half a dozen a day. So we go through probably 180 dozen a year. So the math for that, how many eggs are in approximately 1,367 dozens? That's 15,600 eggs in 5 years from approximately 13 to 15 mature laying hens. And the stars are still laying at 5 years old, so they're pretty exceptional. The lavenders don't lay as much and their eggs are smaller, but they're so friendly and sweet. They're a great breed. What do we feed? We try to deworm them spring and fall. I've used fenbendazole, but I need to look into some different dewormers. They slow down in the winter. They still lay in the winter. They just slow way down to the point where, we just use the eggs for our own purposes. We feed tribute feeds. We feed Kalmbach, so we feed a non-GMO layer and we feed a non-GMO meat bird so that they have enough protein to make eggs and lay eggs. And we try to keep them with a calcium supplement. We try to give them oyster shells. And every day they get fresh water. That's probably one of the most important things. I've actually heard about using blue dye, indigo dye, in their water, and that's basically methylene blue, and that keeps them even healthier. So, these aren't the supremely most healthy chickens in the whole world. They could probably stand more vitamin D because for 6 months, they don't want to go walk around in the snow, so they tend to be stuck in their pens. We don't put them under lights because they tend to lay eggs longer when they get a break. They lay more eggs at once if you put them under lights, but they may not lay as long. Now, I don't know if that's for sure a fact, but that's just a theory that some of us have. So, 5 years, 15,600 eggs, 1,367 dozen in 5 years. What an amazing blessing. You really can't find an animal that is a better productivity than a chicken and then a laying hen. And I do keep roosters, and the roosters are obnoxious, but hey, yeah, look at Roosty. He's like, how dare you? Roosty's a beauty. What a good boy you are, Roosty. Yes, you are a good boy. He's the friendliest rooster. There's 3 roosters, mature roosters in total in our flock, and Roosty is definitely the dominant male. The other 2 have smaller combs and they're smaller birds. So Roosty's probably producing the most progeny of any of them because he does the most mating with the hens and such. But I thought, wow, that is amazing. God really created a bird that to take care of his people for sure. And these are the ones. They create meat. They create low heme iron meat. So they're good for if you have an iron loading issue. If you don't have an iron loading issue, what's definitely better is if you need iron, you need cattle or beef are excellent source of heme iron. So they're the perfect food for you if you suffer from anemia. But chickens are great if you struggle with high iron levels. And then the eggs don't affect high iron. So eggs are low in heme iron. So they're another great food. They're a superfood, honestly. And with my calculations, I was not counting any of the eggs that I use myself in baking. I was just counting what my guys eat because I don't eat a whole lot of eggs myself, but my guys eat eggs. So pound for pound, the chicken is one of the most miraculous produce animals on a farm. So don't say, we're not a farm, we're not a homestead, whatever. We just have a few laying hens. They are amazing. So I hope this was informative and might give you an idea of what you're looking at for chickens. Now, when it comes to price of feed and stuff, they are expensive, especially if you don't skimp and you pay and you buy really good feed for them and really take good care of them. They're not a cheap bird, but they are when you consider pound for pound meat and eggs. They are a cheap animal. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Jesus loves you.